webinar today. We're going to be demonstrating QuoteValet and all the features that are available. For anyone that is curious, yes, we will be recording this webinar, so if you have to leave early or someone from your team is coming in late that you're worried about them missing something, we will be posting this on our website probably sometime next week so that you can review it at a later time that's convenient for you. As we go through, if you guys do have questions, feel free to send those over. More than likely what will happen is we'll answer most of them at the end of the webinar. If there's something relevant to what we're currently speaking about, then I'll try to cover that. But if not, don't worry, just post your question in there, and I'll circle back at the end of the webinar and make sure that we answer all your questions before we end the session today. So my name is Brandon Grant. I'm the Marketing Director here at QuoteWerks. Today we're going to go over a short PowerPoint presentation of just some of the QuoteValet features. We'll show you where you can find information on what's new on QuoteWerks.com. We'll do a live demonstration of the QuoteValet features as well as QuoteValet Web, which is a reporting engine for QuoteValet. And then we'll obviously take any questions that you guys may have. Again, this will be recorded and placed on our videos page and YouTube channel, usually within a week or so of completion of the webinar. So let's go ahead and get right to it. QuoteValet has quite a few different features. I have some of them summarized for you here, and we'll make sure to cover on this. But for those of you who are unaware, QuoteValet is the electronic delivery method for QuoteWerks. So instead of sending your customer a PDF document, which they can then open and sign off on and scan it back to you or fax it back to you, you can actually send them a web link, and that link is something that creates that QuoteWerks or QuoteValet creates automatically for them, and then the customer can go to that web page and they can actually sign off on the document electronically. They can select different options, things of that nature. So there's a lot of features involved there. One of the nice features about QuoteValet is it's going to provide you with these email and inbox notifications. So it's actually going to let you know when the customer has viewed your quote specifically for the first time via email, and also every time after that via the inbox notifications. You'll also be able to see, also give your customer optional item support where they can select the different options that they would like to include on their document. You can also do your approvals and peer reviews through QuoteValet. So if you're not in the office and one of your reps or someone you work with just needs another set of eyes on the document before it goes out to the customer, you can actually do that through peer review. If you're a manager and you have the authority to approve documents, you can do that through QuoteValet as well. QuoteValet can also collect credit card payments. We support about 80 different gateways, so if you already have a merchant account with one of the gateways supported, you can actually hook them up with QuoteWerks and QuoteValet, and you'll actually be able to accept credit card payments when your customer has electronically signed off on the document. The QuoteValet subscription automatically comes with QuoteValet Web. QuoteValet Web is the reporting engine for QuoteValet. So it's actually going to provide more insight kind of what's happening with your documents. It'll give you a central location where you can actually view all the information on what's happening in your QuoteValet documents. You'll be able to do it, sort by rep or see everyone across the board. Your subscription also includes the shopping cart. Shopping cart is kind of like a static page where your customers can go and place orders or reorders for items that they might purchase on a regular basis. It's a really nice feature to have if you do sell a lot of the same items to the same customers. You can create a place, essentially an electronic order form, and the customer can select what they need, and they can go through and make purchase on those items, or at least select the items they want, and QuoteValet will send you a notification that your customer submitted an order form, and then you can review it with the customer before making purchase if you need to. Finally, it also comes with QuoteValet Mobile, which is going to be supported on like a tablet, so like an iPad or any other type of tablet device, where you can actually place quotes or create quotes on the go. So if you're out in the field and you have internet access, you can actually create a quote through QuoteValet Mobile. So just some of the available features that are there, and we'll make sure to touch on the major ones today. So we kind of touched on this already. The QuoteValet Web is a reporting vehicle for QuoteWerks. It also has quite a few features. So the first one's going to be the executive dashboard. The executive dashboard provides you with an overall view of kind of how your what your reps are doing in QuoteValet. So you can actually see how many quotes were sent during a specific date range, so maybe this week, this month, this quarter, that kind of thing. You can see how many quotes were accepted, paid, the top dollar quotes for that selected date range, top dollar orders, how many of those documents have been viewed by the customer, if the customers have posted any comments, the sales reps have responded to those comments, and then you can also do what's called a comparative analysis. And a comparative analysis is where you can actually compare your reps against each other during a certain date range. So you can actually see how reps are doing. So you can see, Are all the reps sending out about the same amount of quotes? Is one rep outperforming the others, or is one lagging behind the others? You can see which reps have the best closure rate. That kind of information will all be available to you through the comparative analysis. The My Summary is going to be directed at a specific sales rep. So as a sales rep, you can actually log into QuoteValet Web and go to the My Summary, and it'll give you the same information as the executive dashboard, except just limited to you. So the executive dashboard provides it across all reps. The My Summary would just provide it for your own rep who you're logged in as in QuoteWerks. The status board is a nice feature if you have a lot of reps in the same location, such as we do here. We actually have a 40-inch monitor where we post this status board. And the status board will show you kind of all the activity currently going on with QuoteValet. So as orders come in, you can see that information pop up on the status board. Very useful, specifically if you have reps in and out of the office. You can easily keep track of their orders and customer comments and first views and those what we call priority notifications. So we can always see kind of what's going on with these documents in QuoteValet. This is really nice, like I said, if you have reps that are kind of in and out of the office, so you don't lose track of orders, or you can actually track and make sure everything is being processed in a timely manner. The Find option will let you search for documents in QuoteValet Web. So if you want to look for a specific document in QuoteValet Web, you can search by like the document number or the company or something of that nature. The inbox replicates what you have in QuoteWerks. So in your QuoteValet dashboard in QuoteWerks, which we'll get to, you'll actually have an inbox where you'll see all your notifications. And this is going to provide a new notification anytime there's activity on that specific document in QuoteValet. So the first time the customer views the quote, or the second time or third time, however many times they view it, if they select an option, if they post a comment, if they accept it, if they make payment, any options or anything that they do to that specific quote, you'll actually see an inbox notification. So that it's replicated here in QuoteValet Web as well. And like I said, peer reviews and approvals are also supported in QuoteValet Web, so you can actually go here to see if there's any peer reviews pending for you, or if your peer reviews have been taken care of. Same thing with approvals. It provides a nice, easy place for you to check that information. A lot of users always ask questions about the different types of documents we support in QuoteValet. So, basically, can you customize these templates? So they are customizable, and there's a few default templates that come with QuoteWerks out of the box. The one that most of you are going to be familiar with, if you've ever seen QuoteWerks before or QuoteValet before, is going to be the customer-facing document. This is what you typically see, where it has a list of your items with a PDF attachment, and you can go through and electronically sign and accept the quote. There's also an option for what we call the customer-facing inline PDF. This is where we actually take the PDF version of your document, so the layout that you selected in QuoteWerks, and put it into the QuoteValet document. So if you have any documents where maybe you've created these PDF documents in QuoteWerks, and you say, my layouts are exactly the way I want the quote to show up to the customer. We have specific terms or information in there that we always want to print. We don't need the customer to select options. We just want them to see the output of the document. You can use this inline PDF document. I'll show you how that would look today. Additionally, we have the option to provide the customer with a written signature box. So if you are sending a quote or proposal out to a customer and you would like them to actually sign off on the document, maybe you think it'll make them more likely to sign off, or it just makes the customer more comfortable signing electronically, you can use this signature box where they can actually use their mouse to sign off on the document with their mouse, or if they're using like their phone or their tablet or something like that, they can use their finger to put in their signature that way. So a couple different options for the document types there. So when using QuoteValet, your workflow in QuoteWerks is going to remain unchanged. You're not really going to have to do anything different. So any of you that are not using QuoteValet, if you're worried about how it's going to affect how you're delivering your document, it's all going to run the exact same way as it is now. It's just going to be a different step. Instead of emailing, we'll choose to upload it to QuoteValet, but everything else will remain the same. So you would still select your contact in your document. We would then move to selecting your products and services, so basically building your quote in QuoteWerks. Now we get to the delivery portion, where typically you would email the document to your customer if you are not using QuoteValet. Now this is where you'll actually upload the document to QuoteValet, and then you'll email a link to them. So if you're ever curious how you actually send the document to the customer, you'll upload it to QuoteValet, and then QuoteWerks will automatically take that link, put it in an email for you, and then you can send that email to the customer, and then they can click on that link. From there, the customer can accept and even make payment from that document once they've electronically signed off on it. So that's going to be something that's going to streamline it for your customer, where they're not having to print something out, sign off on it, and then email it and scan it and email it back to you or fax it back to you. They'll be able to just electronically sign off on it, and make payment if you accept credit cards or PayPal. From there, QuoteWerks is going to revert back to operating as usual. So once your customer has accepted the quote, QuoteWerks will actually now prompt you to convert that quote to an order, which will then update your opportunity as closed or won in your CRM or PSA if you're using one that's connected with QuoteWerks. From there, you can do your resourcing of the product. So if you need to negotiate with your vendors or just update pricing before you actually place the order, you can do that. We can then place the order for you, create the purchase order if needed, and then track the order to delivery and fulfillment. So a lot of that information is going to not change too much for you. Really, the only thing that's going to change when you're using QuoteValet is the delivery method, but you'll also get those notifications, which we'll go over here in just a few minutes as well. If you have questions about anything we talked about today or just other QuoteWerks features in general, we have a lot of resources for you available on the website. The webinars, all these are live and recorded, so if you, again, if you have to leave early today, feel free. We'll be posting this on the website. If you missed any of the other previous webinars we had, you can always go to the website to view those. If you do have questions or need tech support, it's available by phone and email. We also have a lot of documentation and videos on the website as well. So we have our help system, which is our help file. So it's our online manual. So if you do have questions about specific features in QuoteWerks and you want to find out the things on your own, you can use that help file. It has a lot of information about the software in there. The tutorial videos will go over specific features in QuoteWerks. So if there's a specific feature that you're looking for, you can check out those tutorial videos. We have a lot of videos on new features and existing features on the software. And then we also have overview videos. So if you wanted to see how QuoteWerks integrates with your specific CRM, we have that information on the website as well. And then we do offer services for getting you up to speed with QuoteWerks. So if you're new to QuoteWerks and you need help getting implemented or just need some basic training, we offer that as well. We also do have partners across the world. So if you are interested in local help, you want to work with someone with face-to-face, let us know. We have, like I said, we have partners in a lot of the countries across the world. So we can get you in touch with someone in your area, and a lot of the partners are willing to travel, so that's something else that would be available to you as well. We go to a lot of events, so if you are going to any of the events, definitely stop by the booth. We're always happy to talk to existing customers or potential customers and listen to any feedback, and I'm happy to show you any new features or just give you an overview of the software as well. We do post a lot on Facebook and Twitter, and we post all our videos on YouTube, so make sure you check us out there. We're also on LinkedIn, so we post information through LinkedIn as well. And then our forums on the website is also a great place to interact with other QuoteWerks users. So if you have questions or want to just kind of see how other users are using something in the software, the forums is a great place for that as well. All right, so we're going to go ahead and move forward with the QuoteValet demonstration here. So the first step is you're going to have your document created as usual. Now before we get into actually sending this document to the customer, there's one thing I want to show you is going to be the QuoteValet dashboard. This kind of gives you a central location to view all of the activity of your QuoteValet document. So if you click on the dashboard icon, this is going to load essentially 3 tabs for you. It's going to load your inbox, reporting, and your payments tab here. So just center that on the screen so it's a little bit easier to see. So the first tab that it's going to default to is going to be your inbox tab. And by default, it's going to show your user or the last user you're logged in as in QuoteWerks. This is going to show you all the activity of all your documents in QuoteValet since the last time you dismissed this activity. So you'll look, each of these is a different document where there was activity on that document. And you'll see there's an option where you can dismiss this activity from your inbox. So as you kind of go through and look over the activity, you can decide if there's something that it needs action on, and you can take that action, and then you can dismiss it here because it's kind of like a to-do. It's something you've already taken care of. When you select an activity, or a notification rather, you'll actually see all the activity on the right-hand side. So this will show you everything that's happened with the document. So you can see that the customer has already viewed this document, and looks like they viewed it last week. They viewed the PDF attachment, they changed an option, and then they posted a comment. Sales rep responded to the comment. Customer accepted it, and then they viewed the payment request page. So they didn't actually make payment, but they did view the payment request. That's going to be something that tells you with the different colors in QuoteValet. This is going to say if it's orange, that means the customer has accepted it. If it's green, it means they have made payment. If it's white like this, that just means that the customer has viewed the document or changed an option. There's been an activity, but they haven't accepted or made payment on the document yet. As you go through these, you'll see there'll be little icons that show up in the status bar as well. These are going to let you know what the customer has actually done, and if you mouse over it, you'll see that the little tooltip will open up, and it'll let you know, okay, in this one, this little checkbox means that the document was accepted. You can see here the document was viewed by the customer viewed the PDF. In this one, the customer posted a question, and here the customer selected an option. So these little icons here will let you kind of browse through the different notifications and let you know what the customer has done without having to click on the notification itself if you don't wish to. And like I said, once you've kind of reviewed the information, you can dismiss it from your inbox, and it'll be removed from that inbox. The next time your customer goes to the document, you'll receive a new notification here. So every time the customer visits the quote, you'll receive a notification, or if they change something on the quote, you'll receive a notification. We send email notifications for what we call the major events in QuoteValet. So when the customer views the document for the first time, we'll send you an email. If you make a change to the document, or you re-upload it to QuoteValet and you resend it to them, then we'll send you an email notification when they view it, when they review that revised document as well. If the customer posts a comment, we'll send you an email notification for that. If they accept or make payment on the document, we'll send you email notifications for that as well. If the customer views a quote for the third, fourth, fifth, sixth time, anything like that, we're just going to post a notification in your inbox here. The reason we do that is we don't want to spam you with a bunch of notifications saying, hey, your customer viewed a document, customer viewed a document. You don't need to know the customer viewed the document, so that's why we'll post the comment here. We'll only send you an email when it's kind of the important ones, the first view, if they post a comment, if they accept it, and if they made payment, then we'll send you emails for those to make sure that those go through to you. So this is always somewhere that you can always go through and kind of check this information out as well. The reporting tab is going to provide you with reporting information on QuoteValet. So this is going to let you kind of run reports on your QuoteValet documents based on the different options or activities here. So you can see the customer activity, any activity, internal activity. If the customer hasn't viewed a document yet, that would be an important one. So if you wanted to run one every month or every week and say, okay, show me all my quotes where my customer hasn't viewed yet, you'd be able to do that by setting this activity here. This is one we use all the time, where you can see any documents that are expiring so that you can open those up. So if we wanted to click on, any documents that are expiring this month, it'll request this report, and it'll actually show me a list of all these QuoteValet documents that are expiring. And then I can go through and reply. Maybe I want to open this document by right-clicking, and I can actually go and send that customer maybe an email template I've set up and say, hey, your quote's going to expire in the next week, or it's going to expire in 2 weeks. You want to move forward? Do you have any questions? Just kind of helps you navigate your documents in QuoteWerks. The Payments tab will provide you with payment information. So if you start accepting electronic payments through QuoteValet, these will actually show you when the payment has come through. It'll let you know basically the amount of the document, the customer that accepted it, if they paid by credit card or PayPal, how much it was. All that information will be available here. If you're not going to accept payments through QuoteValet, that's fine. You just won't use this tab. So let's go back into our QuoteValet or our QuoteWerks document. So when you're ready to send the document to QuoteValet, you're going to do everything the exact same way. You would build your quote, you would select your contact, add anything on the Sale Info tab that you need to, add any notes, go through your custom tab, all that information you would put in your document just like you're creating any other quote. The only difference is going to be when we get ready to deliver it. So in this case, one of the really nice things about QuoteValet that we talked about earlier is being able to give the customer options. So I'm going to show you how you can make items optional on your quote so the customer can actually select or deselect options. So there's basically two different option types that you could do. You can have just your regular optional items. So down here at the bottom in my quote, you can see I have a section that says optional items, and I can give my customer the chance to deselect or select these optional items. So the way we do that is by adding a checkbox to those optional items. And we're going to do that by editing the line attributes for these items in QuoteWerks. So if I select my two optional items, and I right-click, and I click on Edit Line Attributes, here I can choose, okay, are these items optional, yes or no? Now, a lot of you have probably used this feature before, but for those of you that are new to QuoteWerks, the optional items attribute will basically show up on the document as optional, but it won't be included in the quote total unless you check this box for is selected. So if you want items to show up on the document as optional, but you don't want them included in the quote total, then you leave this unchecked, but you set them as optional. What this attribute does for QuoteValet is it'll actually put a checkbox next to these items, and then the customer, when you deliver the document via QuoteValet, can select whether or not they want to include this quote in the, or if they want to include these items for their purchase. In our case, I'm going to go ahead and choose is selected, and this will also check the checkbox next to these items on QuoteValet. And this will make a lot more sense once I actually show you the document. So if you want to give just the customer the option, do you want this item, yes or no, you just set the items as optional and then choose is selected if you want them pre-selected for the customer. If you don't want them selected for the customer, just leave this unchecked. The other type of option is going to be what we call mutually exclusive options. So maybe you want to give your customer like a good, better, best option, or hey, make your decision between this option or this option. This is how you can do that in QuoteWerks by using the mutually exclusive options. So the way we do that is if you look under my services section here, I have a 5-year and a 3-year extended warranty. Well, I want to give my customer the option to choose one of those. I don't want them to choose both, and I want them to choose none. I want them to select one of those options. So the way I can do that is actually right-click, go back to Edit Line Attributes, and then I'm going to set it as optional, yes. I'm going to choose is selected because I want one of the options to be selected. And then I'm going to assign these items to an exclusive group. Now to put items in an exclusive group, simply just start typing in here. In this case, I'm going to call it warranty, but you can call it whatever you like. And any items that are assigned to this exclusive group will now have a radial button next to them instead of a checkbox in QuoteValet. This means that the customer will be able to select one of these options. It'll also update in QuoteValet with those selections that they make as well. So I'll show you how that works here in just a moment. But this is how you can set up exclusive options. See, we already have a question about setting the options. Can you have more than one exclusive group? Yes, you can. You can have essentially as many as you'd like. You would just follow the same step and just make sure you name the group something different so you can keep track of which options are associated with which. So I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. And then QuoteWerks is going to pop up a window and just let you know, hey, because these are exclusive options, you can only select one of them at a time. So I'm going to go ahead and hit yes, because I do want it to have selected, and then it'll be selected for me. Now, if you look here, this 3-year extended warranty is in green. That means it's an optional item, but it's not selected. So remember, because these are mutually exclusive options, only one of them can be selected at a time. QuoteWerks by default will always choose the first one. So if you always want the first one to be selected in your mutually exclusive group, make sure that's the first one in this optional setting here. I think we have another question about the options. Someone's asking if you can have several items belonging to an option. Yes, you could actually have essentially as many options as you'd like. There's no limit on that. You could also group items together. So if you wanted to offer your customer different groups, maybe use bundles or things like that, then you can use the group header lines and set them as mutually exclusive, and the customer can select between the different groups. So there's quite a bit of different items that you can set this way. So now that we've set our optional items, we're ready to deliver this to the quote, to our customer. So we're going to click on our deliver window here, or our deliver icon, which brings up our deliver window. And this is going to be an important step, is that just because you're using QuoteValet doesn't mean you don't want to select a layout. Typically, you're always going to want to select a layout. And the reason is because we're actually going to attach a PDF version of this document for your customer. So if you do have like terms and conditions or service contract or warranty information, any type of documentation that the customer may need to read over or need to print out, maybe they just need to keep a hard copy for accounting purposes or just for their own purposes, it's going to be important that you select a layout here. So you're going to select your layout document just like you normally would. You can include a cover page, your literature documentation just like you typically would. All that information just as if you were building out your PDF, because we are going to attach that PDF to the document. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and also make sure we select our layout, and that's all we need to send for this customer. But if we needed to send more, we could. And then the only difference here, instead of clicking on preview and then email as you typically would, we're going to choose upload to QuoteValet. And then if you haven't saved your document, it'll prompt you that you need to save it first. So here we have our PDF document. So if I want to view what the PDF is going to look like on QuoteValet, I can check that by clicking on this button here. And this will actually open up our PDF document. So it's a good way just to kind of check to make sure that you have everything that you need. Okay, yeah, we only need this one document, so Everything looks good there, so we'll go ahead and we'll close out of that. The next step is going to be actually uploading that different option. And I see someone's asking, how do you upload the additional literature? All you need to do is make the selection, just like you were sending out the PDF to the customer. Just make that selection and then upload it. We'll actually backtrack here and show you that in a moment. But yeah, just if you want to attach any additional documentation, you just include it like you normally would, like if you're emailing out the PDF, and then you just choose Upload to QuoteValet. That's going to be the only difference. So now I have my document, my PDF. I'm happy with the way it looks, and now I can upload it to the customer. So by default, when you first start using QuoteValet, you're just going to have the one option, which is the customer-facing. But there's a few other document types that are available as well that we'll go over here in just a moment. So I'm going to go ahead and upload to the customer-facing document. And it's going to upload all my changes. And then typically you would want to preview this before you send it to the customer. So let's go ahead and click on the preview option. And you'll see up at the top, it's going to let you know, hey, this is a representation of what your customer will see. Do not send this URL to your customer, or you will not be able to track when they view this quote. This is basically an internal URL that we're using right now, so it's not a tracked URL. We use this so that you, as the sales rep, can actually view and see exactly what the customer sees without it interfering with any of your stats of like how many times the customer's viewed, if they've made any changes, anything like that. So this gives you a chance in the customer-facing side of things to see exactly what the document's going to look like. So if you ever see this window here, this warning, that means the document has, this is a non-tracked URL document. So you don't want to send your customer this URL. The next step in this QuoteValet window will give you the option to send the URL. So we can look over our document, and you can see we do have our different optional items that we set. So that's good. That's exactly the way we want. There's our PDF attachment. So if the customer needs that, that's available. And then down at the bottom, they have their acceptance and their questions. So let's go ahead and send this document to the customer. I'm going to go ahead and close out of this window and go back to QuoteValet. And then the next option is to notify the customer. So we would just simply want to send an email. So we're going to click on the Send Email window. This opens up our email window in QuoteWerks. And you'll see it already has our customer contact information in there, just like your normal email would. The only difference is you'll see there's no attachment. So we're not actually including the PDF as an attachment. We're just going to send the customer this link. Now this email is fully customizable, so if you want to change the verbiage in this email, that's fine. The email templates are available under the Tools Customize Email Templates window. So if you want to change the look and the feel of this email template, that's fine. I'm just using the default here. So if I click Send, I'll send this to my customer. My customer can view the document and make changes and things like that. So let's go ahead and open up this document. So I'm going to copy out this link. And so now we're going to pretend we're the customer. So we received the email from our rep, and we clicked on the link, and then this is what our customer exactly would see. So the customer sees this quote. Now I just received an email notifying me that my customer viewed the quote for the first time. So I actually have confirmation that not only did my email get to my customer, but they actually clicked on the link and viewed it. So I know that they've at least seen it, even if it was just briefly, that did come through to them. If we wanted to view the PDF, this is where the customer has the option to do that. So you can see if they click on the PDF, it actually opens up the PDF in their window, in their browser, and then they do have the option to save it or print it out from here. So if there is something, again, if you have a service agreement or just contract information or warranty information that the customer needs a copy of, they'll be able to get it through this PDF document as well. And then down here, this is going to be the line item detail. And then this is really one of the nice features about QuoteValet, is that you're giving your customer the option to make different selections and kind of update the quote to fit exactly what they need. I don't have mine set up that way, but you can even set it up where the customer can select different quantities. So if you wanted to give your customer the ability to change quantities in the layout, they'd be able to do that as well. So here, if I wanted the customer to select maybe the 3-year warranty instead of the 5-year, and maybe they don't want both of these options, maybe they just want the first option, they don't want the second one, they can make their selections and then click Update, and it'll actually update our total in real time on the document in QuoteValet. And then the next time I open this document in QuoteWerks, QuoteValet will actually check for updates and see if they've made those changes, and I'll show you how that looks here in just a moment. Additionally, if you offer any different payment options, maybe you offer your customer the option to pay by credit card or terms, or you're offering leasing options, the customer can actually come through here on this payment options, and you'll have the different options for them, and they can make their selection just by clicking on it here. And then down here at the bottom is the acceptance portion, so we'll get back to that in a second. At the very bottom of the document is the ability to actually post comments. So if the customer has any questions or comments about this quote, they can actually post it here. So if they say, you know, can you change the quantity of something, or can you remove an item, they can post that comment here. Let's go ahead and post a comment in here. So we'll say, can you please remove the second line item? So we want our rep to go ahead and remove this splitter cable. Customer doesn't want that, so we're going to go ahead and pull that from the quote. And then we'll submit that. And then what this does is that actually posts a comment here on QuoteValet, and then it also sends an email to your sales rep notifying them that the customer has posted a comment. So if you want to reply via QuoteValet, you can do that. If you want to reply via email, you can do that as well. So let's go back into QuoteWerks and kind of see what's going on with this document. Now, one thing you might see now is that since we've uploaded this quote to QuoteValet, there's a QuoteValet tab available for this document. So anytime, if you're curious if a document's been uploaded to QuoteValet, one easy way to know it is when you open it, just see if there's a QuoteValet tab available. If it's not grayed out, that means that that document has been uploaded to QuoteValet. When you click on the QuoteValet tab, QuoteWerks will automatically check QuoteValet for any updates. So here it'll let me know anything that customers changed. So here I can see the customer changed their purchase option. They selected an option, and they deselected one of the other options. So I can go ahead and hit OK. And then I can see all the activity for the document so far. So far I know that the document was created, uploaded for the customer by this sales rep. The customer viewed it for the first time at this time. Then they viewed the PDF document. Then they changed an option, and then they posted a comment. So as a sales rep, I might want to respond to this question, like how do I post this comment? What do I want to reply with? So I'm going to go ahead and click on the View Sales Rep Facing page. So see here, this is going to let me log into QuoteValet using my QuoteWerks credentials. So I'm going to click View Sales Rep Facing page. And then I'm just going to log in using my QuoteWerks credentials. So just like if I was logging into QuoteWerks. And that'll log me in. And then it'll let you know that, hey, you're logged in as the sales rep facing mode. You'll see all the internal information. And then I can scroll down to the bottom, and then I can see the customer's comment and respond here. The nice thing about responding via QuoteValet is that it'll post it on QuoteValet, and then it sends an email to the customer as well. So in this case, you know, the customer asks, can you remove the second line item? We'll say, you know, that is a required item at this time. So we'll just let them know it's a required item. We'll submit it to them. They'll get that email, and then they can decide if they still want to move forward. So in this case, we're going to say, yeah, customer says everything is great. I see you guys have a lot of questions. Like I said, I'll definitely circle back and come to those. A lot of them are kind of off base of what we're doing now, but I'll make sure to circle back and show you exactly what a lot of questions are, because some of them are very similar in nature. So I responded to my customer's comment, and we can go ahead and close out of that window. And then if we refresh our activity here, just by clicking on the refresh icon, you can see, hey, sales rep has responded to the comment, and you'll have your timestamp. We have our IP address zeroed out just because this is our training installation, so we don't show that information, but you would actually be able to view your customer's IP address. So it is nice to kind of see if, you know, they viewed it on a mobile device, if it was in their office, that type of information. You'll see on this QuoteValet tab, there's a couple other options here. You can view the customer-facing page. So this is that internal view that we talked about earlier. So if the customer's saying, hey, something looks weird, can you change this? And you're not quite sure what they're talking about, you can view the customer-facing page and just see, you know, kind of exactly what they're seeing. You can also recall the quote. This is extremely useful if you forgot to include something on the document. Maybe you are quoting an item that no longer exists. For some reason, you need to pull the quote down before the customer accepts it and tries to make payment on it. You can recall the quote. Now, if the customer's already accepted the quote, you won't be able to recall it. So this is only going to be prior to the customer accepting the quote. So if I recall the quote, I can put in a reason, and I can say, you know, need to include tax. So that'll recall my document, and then if my customer goes to the document, they'll actually see the reason why it was recalled. They won't just see a blank screen. So if we go back to our QuoteValet tab, and this goes to our next option here, actually, where it'll say re-email customer notification. If your document had been recalled or the customer lost the email, you can click re-email notification. So let's see what the document would look like if we had recalled it. So we temporarily pulled it down so that the customer could not accept it. So if the customer clicks on it and they try to accept it, this is what they're going to see. It's going to let them know that, hey, this quote has been recalled by the sales rep. Here's their contact information, and here's the reason why. So, okay, customer, our sales rep forgot to include tax. We'll go ahead and we'll let them include tax on that document. So let's go back into QuoteWerks. This is also useful if you just send something completely wrong. You can make those changes. So this is something that happens a lot where you say, okay, I made these changes. How do I resubmit the document to QuoteValet? All you have to do is make your changes. So maybe this is actually supposed to be 5 instead of 3. So let's go ahead and make that change. Save our work. Click on Deliver. And then there's the option to re-upload it to QuoteValet. So if you want to select a different layout than the one we had chosen, you can choose re-upload to QuoteValet. If you don't need to select it, if everything is the exact same, you just need to make a quick change, you can use the Express Mode button here. This is only going to be available if you've uploaded this document previously. If you've never uploaded this document to QuoteValet, then you'll have to start and go through the normal steps because you'll have to select the layout and send the document to the customer. But if you sent it to them previously, you can click the Express Mode button, which will upload it, save it, and bring it up for the customer. So if we go back to the customer-facing page and we refresh it, now our document is back here. So that's how you can always re-upload the document to QuoteValet if needed. So customers looking over our document, everything looks good. They're ready to sign off on it. They can do so right here through the acceptance portion. They can electronically sign the document by checking this box, which basically says, hey, they agree to the terms and conditions of the above document and PDF attachment. They can post a comment, their PO number, and then they can sign off on the document. Now, maybe you have a customer who's more familiar with or more comfortable with actually signing their name electronically. They want to use their mouse or their finger to actually sign their name instead of just typing it in. You can offer them that option as well. The way you would do that is actually by offering them a different layout type. So if we go back to our Deliver window, and then we choose Re-upload to QuoteValet, this will bring up our upload window. And then you'll see here there's going to be a drop-down. Now, I've added a couple different templates, and these templates are in QuoteWerks by default. You just have to, or in QuoteValet by default, you just have to activate them to turn them on. So the first one I'm going to show you is the customer-facing written signature. That's if you want the customer to actually sign off on the document with like using their mouse or something like that. So we're going to select that layout instead and choose Upload. And then you'd follow the normal steps. You can preview it, make sure everything looks all right, click Send Email, all of that. Since I already have the document open, all I need to do is actually refresh it, because we're going to use the same URL. And then you'll see at the bottom here, this acceptance portion has changed. Now the customer can actually sign off on the document. So if they wanted to OK it, they can actually sign their name here. And then they can accept the document. So like I said, if you have a customer that you think is going to be more comfortable signing off on their document with an actual signature rather than just typing it in, we can give them that option. And this is just a simple layout that you can activate in QuoteValet. This portion is actually already available for you in the QuoteValet subscription. One thing to mention, because a lot of you are submitting questions about how do you customize the look of the QuoteValet documents. QuoteValet layouts are different from your QuoteWerks layouts. They are done in HTML and CSS, so you would want someone who has or who is familiar with that in order to make any kind of adjustments or changes to those documents. So if you have someone that does your website, or if you do your website and you're familiar with it, you can make those changes. At the end of the webinar, I'll actually show you how you can get in there and make those adjustments if that's something you're interested in seeing. So this is one of the options. The other option is a lot of users have your QuoteWerks layout that you spend a lot of time on, and it has everything laid out the exact way you want the customer to see it. You only want to use QuoteValet so the customer can electronically sign off on the document, and also so you get the notifications for when the customer has made specific selections. You don't really need to offer them optional items. It's not something that you typically do. You would like to be able to just to add your PDF into the document here. So what you actually see here is the PDF document instead of customer having to click on the PDF document. So we can do that in QuoteWerks by, again, selecting just a different layout. So we'll go back to Deliver. We'll choose Re-upload to QuoteValet. And then from the drop-down, I'm going to have another option that says Inline PDF. And this Inline PDF document is going to basically use the QuoteWerks layout that I've selected here and insert it into the QuoteValet document. So I'm going to choose Upload. And then once that finishes, we can go back to our document in QuoteValet. Let's go ahead and refresh this. And now we can see, here's the details of our document. So there's our PDF document. So it's just inserting that PDF document directly into the QuoteValet document. So again, very useful if you already have your QuoteValet or your QuoteWerks document set up the exact way you want them to be. You don't offer optional items. You don't want the customer to be able to change the quantities. Then you can offer this, and the customer can still electronically sign and accept it. It will still receive those email notifications. They just won't be able to change anything on the document. So always a nice option to have. And you can see here they can still go down here and actually accept and sign off on the document. Okay, so for our purposes, we're going to send them the regular document. We want the customer to be able to select which options they want, as well as just sign off on it. So we're going to re-upload our document one last time. And why that's uploading, I have a question if we offer free trials of QuoteValet. We do. So if you are interested in a trial of QuoteValet, just hang around after the webinar. We'll get your contact info, and we'll get you set up with a trial so you can test it out and see if it's something that'll work for you. So we have our document. Customer looks everything over. You know, if they decide they want the 5-year warranty, they do want both optional items. Click Update. Updates our total. And now they can sign off on the document. So they're going to agree to the terms and conditions. They can put in a PO number here if they'd like. And then if they have any comments, you know, maybe they want you to place the order right now. So we'll say, please place my order ASAP. They can put that information in, and then they just simply sign off on the document. So in our case, we'll use my name to sign off on this. And we'll put in our signature, and then we'll click to accept. Now, once the customer has accepted the quote, there's a couple things that are going to happen. First, as a sales rep, you're going to receive an email notifying you that the customer has accepted the quote. You're going to get a copy of everything that the customer has accepted. So you're actually going to get a copy of the PDF that you attach and also screenshots of the QuoteValet document. The customer also gets a copy of that. So you'll both actually get a copy of everything that essentially was agreed to. You can also pull that down in from QuoteValet, which I'll show you here in a minute. If you, for some reason, didn't get the email and you need a copy of it, I'll show you how you can get it back. If your customer has accepted the document and you offer credit card payments or PayPal, this Pay Now button will be available for them. If you don't, and you don't plan on it, that's fine. This Pay Now button just won't be here, but you'll still receive that email notification that your customer has accepted and signed off on the document. So if I click on the Pay Now button, this will bring us to the payment screen. And this is where the customer can make payment. Now, if you require maybe 15% down or 20% down and you've set that as your deposit in QuoteWerks, that's what will show up here for the amount that they owe, and then they can make the payment here. If they make more than one payment, or every time they make a payment, you'll actually see the payment history here, so they can see how much they put down towards the document as well. So you can actually set how much you want the customer to pay before you've uploaded the document to QuoteValet. I've set mine up for the full amount I want the customer to pay up front, but if I only needed them to put 20% down to get started, you can set that as your deposit as well. So if you go into QuoteWerks and you look at your deposit option, that'll be set here as well. So let's go back to the QuoteValet tab. So now that the customer has accepted the quote, you'll see that QuoteValet has prompted you with a few options, letting you know, okay, customer did a few things here. By default, when your customer has accepted the quote, QuoteWerks wants to convert the quote to an order. That's actually how we basically close the quote in QuoteWerks. I'm going to hit cancel right now just because there's a few other things I wanted to show you, but I'm going to. That would typically be the next step, is you want to convert this quote to an order so you can close it. When you convert that quote to an order, that is going to update your CRM or PSA opportunity. So if you are using any of the CRMs or PSAs that we integrate with, and you created an opportunity for this quote, QuoteWerks will then update it as won or closed in that CRM or PSA. So you'll see here we have our customer acceptance information. So you can see the name that they used, the email that they used, the date, and the IP address information. You can also see there's an option that says Retrieve Acceptance Package. So the acceptance package is going to be all that information that we talked about. So this is going to be the screenshots of that information, the PDF version of the document. It'll also have their first name, their last name, the email address they use, IP address, all that information. So if for some reason the customer says, hey, I didn't sign off on that, you'll have all this information available that you can easily pull and say, well, someone from this IP address using these credentials accepted and signed off on the document. So you'll have all that available for you if you need it. If you accept credit card payments or any kind of payments, you'll see here the payment options will be down here. Make payment by proxy. This is extremely useful if you accept company checks. Maybe the customer says, hey, we're not going to pay with credit card, we're going to pay with a check, and they send you the check. You can actually zero out the balance here by doing what we call is make payment by proxy. So if you click on make payment by proxy, you can actually select the method. So it's basically just doing it manually instead of automatically here in QuoteWerks. So if you want to say they paid with a check, you can put in the reference, paid by check, and then you can put in the amount or however much the option was, and then it'll show up here. If you want the customer to make a payment electronically, you can do request payment, and this will actually open up an email window. And this is the default email that comes with it. Again, you can change this setting if you like, and it'll have the payment link in here so the customer is brought right to the payment screen. So if you've been waiting on payment and the customer has accepted it but they haven't made payment yet, and you can't start until they make payment, you can easily request payment through here as well. Oh, and someone was asking if you don't accept a specific credit card, like for instance Amex, yes, that won't show up in the options, so that graphic won't be there. It'll only show which ones that you actually support. So once your customer has gone through with the acceptance and the payment, they're pretty much done on the QuoteValet side. The last thing I wanted to show you before we get into the questions is going to be the QuoteValet Web. So having all these documents come through QuoteValet is great, but you need a place to be able to kind of report on this information and see, which ones have made payment on the quotes, which ones haven't, which ones have been accepted, which haven't. So what we've done is we've created QuoteValet Web, which is the reporting vehicle specifically for QuoteValet. So any document created via QuoteValet can be accessed and viewed through QuoteValet Web. So click on our QuoteValet dashboard. This is the easiest way to get there. And this will bring you to your QuoteValet inbox by default that we talked about. And you'll see in the top right corner there's an option that says Launch QuoteValet Web. So we're going to go and click on that. And this will bring us to QuoteValet.com/web. So that's also the website address if you need to get in there, just QuoteValet.com/web. When it prompts you to log in, you'll actually just put in your QuoteWerks credentials. So if I hadn't previously logged in, then I could just put in my QuoteWerks credentials and it would log me in. Now, by default, you will not have access to the executive summary, my summary, and status board unless if you have master rights in QuoteWerks and turn that on. So you may only see your inbox, peer reviews, approvals, and that's about it. So if you don't see that information, that's why. Same thing for the admin information. You won't see that unless you have master rights in QuoteWerks. So the dashboard is going to have your inbox. So this is an exact copy of your inbox in QuoteValet or in QuoteWerks. So if you wanted to see kind of what's going on with your documents, but you're out of the office, maybe you're on vacation or you're just on a plane somewhere and you don't have access to QuoteWerks, you can log into QuoteValet Web and you can actually see kind of what's going on with your inbox. You'll be able to see the customer-facing side of things, the sales rep-facing side. You can send a note, which brings up an email window, so you can actually email through here. So if you need to send a note to a customer or to another user in QuoteWerks, you can do that. You can also view the activity history here. So if you're kind of curious about what the customer's done recently since the last time you checked in, you can actually see all that activity that's gone on through here. The next one is going to be the peer reviews. So peer reviews can be sent via email. So if you're just doing peer reviews through QuoteWerks, you can do that. However, when you add QuoteValet, you have the option to do peer reviews through QuoteValet. And any peer reviews you have will actually show up here. And then you can view that peer review page by clicking on this link. And that way you can actually view what the rep is going to send to the customer, see if there's any information in here. So if you need to add a comment or anything like that, you can do that and say, hey, when we sell item 1, you also have to include item 2. I don't see that on the quote, so you want to make sure you add that. Any kind of constructive information you want to put on here, you can do that. We also have what we call approvals. So this would be for management. If you have any documents that need approval, they'll show up here. For management, you'll actually be able to approve through QuoteValet. So you'll actually be able to go to the View Approval page, and this will bring you to the approval screen, and then you can actually approve or disapprove a document. So if you want to say not approved, you can actually put in a note why it's not approved. You can say, hey, this doesn't meet our requirements for sending out this document to the customer. You need to meet a certain margin or a certain dollar level before we can approve this. You can put that information here, and then the customer or the sales rep can actually see why or why not this document was not approved. The executive summary is going to be for management only. So this is going to show you during your selected date range all the information about your documents, either via specific sales rep or all your sales reps. So if you wanted to see kind of how your reps are doing this month, you can click on this month, and you can get a good look at how many quotes have been sent, how many were accepted, how many were paid, the top dollar quotes, the top dollar orders, customer views, customer comments, sales rep comments, and a comparative analysis. So by default, it's going to show you your quotes sent. You can see it's just a little lighter blue, so that means it's highlighted. So this shows me that there's been 8 quotes sent by these reps. If I wanted to filter by only show me the quotes that have been accepted, I can click on that so I can see how many quotes have been accepted. So it's just going to be these 5. If I want to see how many have been paid, I can click on the quotes paid option, and that'll show me just the one that's been paid so far. Same thing with customer views, customer comments, and sales rep comments. I can view that as well. There's also the comparative analysis. So the comparative analysis is going to show you the information on each rep in QuoteWerks. So if we click on the comparative analysis, that'll actually show you each rep and kind of what they've done in QuoteValet during that selected date range. So in this case, I'm showing by month, so I can actually see that Brandon, Jen, Adam, and John have sent out this many quotes total. Brandon sent out the most. He has the most dollar amount. He has the most converted to orders. Jen would be next, and then Adam and John's quotes haven't been accepted yet. So you can see kind of how your reps are doing in a very easy-to-see format, and kind of let you know if you want to sort it by the amount in the orders. You can also do it by the amount of quotes. You can also do it by the number of quotes. Maybe you want to sort it by how many quotes they've actually sent out. Then you can do it that way. So you have a couple different options for comparing your reps against each other. The My Summary is going to be for a sales rep. So if a sales rep wants to see access, kind of like how they're doing in QuoteValet for a selected date range, they can do that. This is going to be dependent on your security settings in QuoteWerks. So if you don't have access to the My Summary, this is why it's actually an access setting that you would have to add. But again, this will show you the same thing as the executive summary. It's just not going to show you for other reps. It's only going to show your documents in QuoteWerks or in QuoteValet instead. And then the status board, something we talked about earlier, kind of showed a screenshot on this. This is a great thing to have if you have multiple reps and you want to keep track of kind of like how many orders are coming in, things like that. You can post this on like a monitor. It's actually designed to be put on a monitor in your sales department, so your sales managers or even the reps can see how things are coming in and make sure that orders are being processed. Specifically, if you have guys in and out all the time, you can make sure that nothing's being missed as you're quoting and orders are closing and things of that nature. So you have a lot of interesting, useful information that comes from here. And then the Document Explorer, this will let you search for a specific document. So if you want to see kind of like a date range and see kind of the activity during that date range by customer or by sales rep, you'll be able to do that. All right, so I know we have a lot of questions, so we'll go ahead and get to the questions now. I do appreciate everyone taking the time to view this webinar today. If you guys do have questions or you would like a trial of QuoteValet, stick around, let me know, or send me your contact information, and we'll make sure to do that. So appreciate everyone's time today, and you guys have a good day.